Welcome to MRI Sectional Anatomy Practice Questions for Chapter 2. There will be 100 questions will be in flashcards, images, true, false, and multiple choice formats. Kindly click subscribe and like. It will help with the channel so the YouTube algorithm can share these videos with other students. Question 1. How many bones are there in the face? 8, 9, 10, 12, or 14? The answer is 14. They are 2 nasal, 2 lacrimal, 2 inferior nasal concha, 2 maxilla, 2 palatine, 1 mandible, 2 zygomatic, and 1 vomer. Question 1. How many bones are there in the face? 8, 9, 10, 12, or 14? How many bones are there in the cranium? 8, 9, 10, 12, or 14? The answer is 8. These are 1 frontal, 1 ethmoid, 1 sphenoid, 1 occipital, 2 temporal, and 2 parietal. The anterior surface of the temporomandibular articular disc attaches to which muscle? A. Temporalis. B. Lateral pterygoid. C. Medial pterygoid. D. Masseter. The answer is B. Lateral pterygoid. The strongest muscle of the jaw is? A. Temporalis. B. Lateral pterygoid. C. Medial pterygoid. D. Masseter. The answer is D. Masseter. Identify the structure at the red arrow. A. Lateral-collateral ligament. B. Condyloid process. C. Articular disc. D. Medial collateral ligament. The answer is C. Articular disc. Cranial nerve 12 passes through the what canal? A. Pydion. B. Pterygoid. C. Hypoglossal. D. Optic. The answer is C. Hypoglossal. Label the followings. A is the frontal bone. B is the parietal bone. C is the occipital bone. D is the ethmoid bone. E is the sphenoid bone. F is the temporal bone. Make sure you know all these bones and their locations. The basilar portion of the occipital bone forms the anterior margin of the foramen magnum and slopes superiorly and anteriorly to meet with the dorsum sella to form which structure? A. Sella turcica. B. Lateral condyle. C. Internal occipital protuberance. D. Clivus. The answer is D. Clivus. The cribriform plate is part of which cranial bone? A. Sphenoid. B. Ethmoid. C. Occipital. D. Temporal. The answer is B. Ethmoid. The ethmoid sinuses are contained in which portion of the ethmoid bone? A. Body. B. Horizontal portion. C. Vertical portion. D. Lateral masses. The answer is D. Lateral masses. Which line points to the zygomatic arch? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is A. Please look at both pictures. Which line points to the ramus of mandible? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is B. What about the zygoma? A, B, C, D, or A? Zygoma is at C. C. Which line points to the mental foramen? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is D. And which line points to the frontal process of the maxilla? A, B, C, D, or A? This one is very obvious because of the word frontal, thus, the answer is E. Which line points to the superior oblique muscle? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Please pause the video and learn all muscles in the red boxes. Any of these can be in the exam. Which line points to the middle nasal meatus? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Identify the structures. A is the superior nasal meatus. B is the ethmoid bulla. C is the middle nasal concha of the ethmoid bone. D is the superior nasal concha. E is the ethmoid sinus. F is the middle nasal meatus. G is the maxillary sinus. And H is the inferior nasal meatus. Don't forget to review these structures again. Which line points to the cribriform plate? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the vomer? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. What about the ethmoid sinuses? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which line points to the temporalis muscle? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which line points to the inferior rectus muscle? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. Which line points to the pterygoid process of the sphenoid bone? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. What about the optic canal? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the anterior clinoid process of sphenoid bone? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. And which line points to the foramen rotundum? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Which line points to the external auditory meatus, EAM? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Please compare the pictures. What about the internal auditory canal, IAC? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is E. Which line points to the cochlea, basal turn? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is D. Which line points to the superior semicircular canal? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is C. Which line points to the incus? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is B. This is an easy question. Which line points to the occipital bone? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Remember that the occipital bone is in the back of the head. Which line points to the clivus? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which line points to the sphenoid sinus? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. If you miss this one, I will be mad. Just kidding. Which line points to the frontal sinus? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the jugular foramen? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. Which line points to the occipital bone? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which line points to the frontal bone? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. Which line points to the mastoid air cells? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the sphenoid sinus? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which line points to the carotid canal? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Another picture for you to learn the structures. Which line points to the inferior orbital fissure? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Which line points to the lambdoidal suture? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Which line points to the incus? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is B. The incus, also known as the anvil, is the middle of three small bones in the middle ear. The incus transmits vibrations from the malleus to the stapes. The vibrations then move to the inner ear. Conditions that affect the incus often affect the other ossicle bones. Which line points to the vestibule? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is D. The vestibule of the ear encompasses a portion of the inner ear roughly 4 mm in size. It is a bony cavity within the temporal bone that contains organs and nerves associated with the vestibular system. It is posterior to the cochlea and anterior to the semicircular canals. Which line points to the internal auditory canal, IAC? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is E. Which line points to the mastoid antrum? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is A. The mastoid antrum, also known as tympanic antrum, antrum mastoideum, Valsalva's antrum, is an air space in the petrous portion of the temporal bone, communicating posteriorly with the mastoid cells and anteriorly with the epitympanic recess of the middle ear via the auditus to mastoid antrum, entrance to the mastoid antrum. Which line points to the malleus? A, B, C, D, or A? The answer is C. The middle ear consists of the tympanic membrane and the bony ossicles called the malleus, incus, and stapes. These three ossicles connect the tympanic membrane to the inner ear, allowing for the transmission of sound waves. The malleus is the first ossicle and attaches to and moves with the tympanic membrane. Which line points to the external auditory meatus, EAM? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the malleus? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. Which line points to the cochlea, basal turn? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. The cochlea is shaped like a snail and is divided into two chambers by a membrane. The chambers are full of fluid which vibrates when sound comes in, causes the small hairs which line the membrane to vibrate and send electrical impulses to the brain. The semicircular canals are also known as the labyrinthine. Which line points to the carotid canal? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Which line points to the dorsum sellae? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Which line points to the optic canal? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the anterior clinoid process? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. Which line points to the zygoma? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which of the following lines is pointing to the lens? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. Here is another picture for you to learn the structures. Which of the following lines is pointing to the lacrimal sac? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which of the following lines is pointing to the anterior chamber? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. Which of the following lines is pointing to the posterior chamber? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the foramen lacerum? A, B, C, or D? The answer is D. The foramen lacerum, Latin, lacerated piercing, is a triangular hole in the base of skull. It is located between the sphenoid bone, the apex of the petrous part of the temporal bone, and the basilar part of the occipital bone. Which line points to the condyloid process of the mandible? A, B, C, or D? The answer is C. Which line points to the temporal bone? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. Which line points to the posterior clinoid process? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. The posterior clinoid process, PCP, is a bony prominence located at the superolateral aspect of the dorsum sellae and can have a variable anatomical structure which is adjacent to the clivus. The foramen magnum is a structure of which cranial bone? A. Sphenoid. B. Ethmoid. C. Occipital. D. Frontal. The answer is C. Occipital. The frontal sinuses drain into the A. Middle nasal meatus. B. Inferior nasal meatus. C. Sphenethmoidal recess. D. Superior nasal meatus. The hypoglossal canals are located within which cranial bone? A. Sphenoid. B. Frontal. C. Ethmoid. D. Occipital. The answer is D. Occipital. Because it goes through the foramen magnum, located at the anterior lateral margin of the foramen magnum is the hypoglossal canal. The infraorbital foramen is part of which facial bone? A. Zygomatic. B. Maxillary. C. Nasal. D. Mandible. The answer is B. Maxillary. The internal auditory canal transmits cranial nerves A. 8 and 9. B. 9 and 10. C. 6 and 7. D. 7 and 8. The answer is D. 7 and 8. The lateral masses and the superior and middle nasal conchae are part of which cranial bone? A. Sphenoid. B. Ethmoid. C. Frontal. D. Temporal. The answer is B. Ethmoid. The lower portion of the bony nasal septum is formed by which facial bone? A. Lacrimal bone. B. Vomer. C. Maxilla. D. Palatine bone. The answer is B. Bomer. The middle ear, or tympanic cavity, communicates with what in the nasopharynx? A. The mastoid antrum. B. The sphenoid sinus. C. Meckel's cave. D. The frontal sinus. The answer is A. The mastoid antrum. The parietal bones articulate with the what and temporal bones? A. Ethmoid, frontal, maxillary. B. Sphenoid, frontal, maxillary. C. Ethmoid, frontal, occipital. D. Sphenoid, occipital, frontal. The answer is D. Sphenoid, occipital, frontal. The petrosal nerve passes through the A. Optic canal. B. Pterygoid canal. C. Foramen rotundum. D. Foramen spinosum. The answer is B. Pterygoid canal. The stylomastoid foramen constitutes the end of the what canal? A. Optic. B. Pterygoid. C. Facial nerve. D. Hypoglossal. The answer is C. Facial nerve. The term for the anterior fontanelle is the A. Asterion. B. Pterion. C. Phragma. D. Lambda. The answer is C. Phragma. The zygomatic arch is formed by the zygoma and the A. Mandible. B. Parietal bone. C. Maxilla. D. Temporal bone. The answer is D. Temporal bone. Two openings of the vestibule are the A. Round window and vestibular aqueduct. B. Oval window and internal auditory canal. C. Round window and internal auditory canal. D. Oval window and vestibular aqueduct. The answer is D. Oval window and vestibular aqueduct. Which cranial fossa is formed by the occipital and temporal bones and contains the cerebellum and brainstem? A. Middle. B. Lateral. C. Anterior. D. Posterior. The answer is D. Posterior. Which cranial fossa is formed primarily by the body of the sphenoid and temporal bones and houses the pituitary gland, hypothalamus, and temporal lobes of the brain? A. Lateral. B. Middle. C. Anterior. D. Posterior. The answer is B. Middle. Which fontanelle is located at the junction of the parietal and occipital bones? A. Pterion. B. Asterion. C. Lambda. D. Phragma. The answer is C. Lambda. Which of the following are the structures of the inner ear? A. Semicircular canals, cochlea, vestibule. B. Cochlea, incus, oval window. C. Vestibule, cochlea, malleus. D. Semicircular canals, malleus, vestibule. The answer is A. Semicircular canals, cochlea, vestibule. Which of the following cranial bones form the largest portion of the sides of the cranium? A. Temporal bones. B. Occipital bones. C. Sphenoid bones. D. Parietal bones. The answer is D. Parietal bones. Which of the following is a foramen contained within the sphenoid bone? A. Foramen lacerum. B. Foramen ovale. C. Mental foramen. D. Jugular foramen. The answer is B. Foramen ovale. Which of the following is a point on the skull that corresponds to the posterior end of the parietomastoid suture? A. Pterion. B. Phragma. C. Asterion. D. Lambda. The answer is C. Asterion. Which of the following is a structure of the osteomedial unit? A. Condyloid process. B. Oval window. C. Uncinate process. D. Vestibule. The answer is C. Uncinate process. Which of the following is not a muscle of the eye? A. Superior oblique. B. Lateral rectus. C. Superior rectus. D. Lateral oblique. The answer is D. Lateral oblique. Which opening is located between the greater and lesser wings of the sphenoid bone? A. Optic canal. B. Inferior orbital fissure. C. Superior orbital fissure. D. Optic foramen. The answer is C. Superior orbital fissure. Which portion of the temporal bone is pyramidal in shape and situated at an angle between the sphenoid and occipital bones? A. Mastoid. B. Petrous. C. Tympanic. D. Squamous. The answer is B. Petrous. Petrous part. The petrous part is a wedge-shaped mass of bone located between the sphenoid and occipital bones within the cranial cavity. It is the most medial part of the temporal bone, and it is the landmark dividing the middle and posterior cranial fossae from each other. Which structure of the inner ear is responsible for hearing? A. Cochlea. B. Semicircular canal. C. Vestibule. D. Incus. The answer is A. Cochlea. Which structure of the sphenoid bone houses the pituitary gland? A. Foramen ovale. B. Sella turcica. C. Anterior clinoid process. D. Pterygoid process. The answer is B. Sella turcica. Which suture is located posterior in the cranium and joins the occipital and parietal bones? A. Lambdoidal. B. Coronal. C. Squamous. D. Sagittal. The answer is A. Lambdoidal. Please pause the video and learn about the 12 cranial nerves and their locations. Learn which canal the cranial nerves go through. Learn these structures and their locations. Keep watching the lecture in this videos. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share.